Hi everybody, this is February week 2. I've basted down my patches, background patches, and I'm going to start doing stitching. I already have a little bit. And thinking about what I might do to embellish the block. I forgot to say at the end of my last video that basting stitches are basically just large running stitches that are not permanent. I only put them in there to hold things so I don't run into snagging pins. And when I'm done stitching an area like here, I pull it out. Okay, I got an email from Jenny. Thank you, Jenny. And she had been watching my bonus week January video where I gave a whole bunch of tips, and I mentioned wrapping a knot that had come out from between the layers as a way of getting it back in between the layers. And she came up with a great idea that I'm going to try next time. Those easy threading needles, if you happen to have some in your collection. I'm going to try it. I have not tried it yet, but I'm going to add it to my needle book. And the next time I have an issue with a knot coming out from in between, I'm going to try that, Jenny. So thank you. I think that probably will work great. Yeah, that was great to hear about that. Okay, so here's my block all basted down. I don't have a lot of thoughts yet on what I'm going to do to embellish it, but I have a few, so I'll share those. I'm going to take, I'm pretty sure, this trim and put it down there, but I'm going to lace it with this silk ribbon, this yellow silk ribbon, in and out, in and out. So it'll be down there. And I do think I would like some velvet. I did get into my yellow trims and found this sweet yellow velvet, so I might use it, but also I might use this one just as an across little touch somewhere. I'm not 100% sure about that yet. I did find this trim also, and I'm not sure what I'd like to do with it, but I think it might make a nice addition somewhere here. And then one thing that I thought was a lot of fun, I found a bag of ribbon roses that I have, and yellows and 2 blues and white, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to have like a little bouquet of roses? And then remember that fabric I showed you that I also have? It has a vase, so I think I'm going to fussy cut that out and then stitch the ribbon roses above it as if there's a big bouquet of roses in there. I've been playing a little, so I thought I'd do an update to show you what I've thought about and how far along I am. I didn't get much stitching done since the last video. I did baste in this trim here, and I've started to quilt my motif down. I'm using single strand embroidery floss, and I'm just doing the quilting stitch on the yellow, and I've already decided I'm going to come in with some light blue and just do a line of stitching where the cups join so that it gives it a little more dimension. I'll be quilting along the bottom of the cups so that the top cup sticks out a little bit. Not thinking it too seriously, but that's the plan. I did fussy cut the vase. I really like that, and I chose just the light blue and yellow flowers. And the dark blue wasn't doing it for me, and the white wasn't either. And I am going to mention that I'm going to be removing, when I go to stitch, the green leaves in the background, because I really want to keep my particular piece the 2 colors. I don't want to add another color in there, so I'm going to remove the green. I think it'll look fine. It's the bouquet of flowers. That's the big part. Something like that. Yeah. I think that's sweet. And, okay, so I've done a few extra things. I did lace this with the yellow silk ribbon, and then and I am planning on putting it here. And then after I did that, I realized that I hadn't really used this dark yellow. I was using a lighter yellow. So I pulled out a piece of yellow, lighter yellow silk ribbon. But then I also decided with the buttons I have to choose from and that I might still yet add a touch of dark yellow. So I haven't switched it out yet. I haven't fully decided which of those two I'm going to use, but I have the option. I pressed this. I had a chance of sunshine. And so I'm going to go from flower to flower. I like the way that just perfectly fits there. And I thought I'd show you, like, these kind of trims, you can clip and make them be what you want them to be. I could have clipped this out and just used flowers too, right? And it's just really easy to just sort of, you just cut right at the edge of the motif where you want to keep and cut away. And then when you do your stitching, you stitch it in such a way to make sure that it doesn't unravel, which is possible. There. So that'll go there. When I stitch it on, I think, I still haven't fully done it, but I think I'm going to be doing, well, at least a blind stitch to hold that down because it shows, but I might also even add some kind of embroidery stitch. I'm not sure. I am going to use this light blue trim on this side here, like so. I've used this trim now a couple of times, this version of trim. I really like it. I'm glad I have it in a bunch of colors. And I cut a piece of this trim as well, and I will be putting it across the top like that, probably like that. And this isn't in stone, but I think I'm going to add this one here, tuck that under there. And in playing, I found this, is this like a hemming tape? I don't even know what it's called. I had a piece that's all wrinkly. I got a little bit of it pressed. And my thought is to put it here, under this, of course. And then I found these little daisies with the yellow center in my stuff, so I thought I'd put a little piece of that on top, like that. There. So I think that's, I wanted to figure some of this out before I went ahead and did embroidery stitches and that, so that I wasn't wasting my time putting embroidery stitches and have to take them out later, which is why I like to know what trims I need to tuck under here. Like I needed to tuck that before I stitched it. And then button-wise, I went digging, and I'm not 100% sure, but I'm leaning towards adding a button in each of these diamonds. Now, whether it be this light blue one, which I actually I like these little buttons. I used the red version of this on my brown and red piece. I took that one out too because I wasn't 100% sure if that's going under or over. I think it's going to go over, so then there wouldn't be a button there. But I also have these yellow with some white buttons, and the possibility is that I will do that instead. I'm looking at them and deciding as I stitch. And then I also, when digging for these little ones, found that I have these blue, two-color blue glass buttons, so I might do something with them as well. I'm not fully sure. I just like to have the stuff around so that my imagination can think about it while I'm stitching or sleeping or cooking or I spend a lot of time looking and thinking about my piece. All right, I will get on with some more stitching, and I will be back when I'm finished, or maybe before this week's piece. I'm just really working on stitching down my background. Okay, here's how my piece is looking today. I got all my background patches stitched down. I'm still not 100% sure how I want to finish this one and this one, so I've left it for now. It's better to continue thinking about it and see how things progress than stitch it in a way I'm not 100% comfortable with. I did get this trim stitched down, and it's slippery. Very similar to that trim I used on the bottom of my brown and red piece. And it was wonky when I was stitching it, but I just kept stitching it, and in the end it turned out to not be wonky. So if you have that happening when you're stitching down a slippery trim, just keep that in mind, that it just keeps stitching and it'll eventually straighten itself up. And this one I'm very pleased with. It's, if you remember, I was going to use this, it's used for, isn't it on hemming skirts and things like that? I think so. Hemming tape? I can't remember. It's been forever since I sewed clothes. Okay, so I cut a piece of that, and look what I did. Can you see that? I scalloped the edge instead of just making it straight edges. Look how sweet that turned out. That tiny little detail. So here's how I did it. First I'm going to put that down. First I basted the seam hemming tape, we'll call it hemming tape. I basted the hemming tape down, and it's slippery too, so I just did one straight basting line down the middle, making sure that it was straight enough for me. Then I did some stitches on the ends and on the ends here, and I did tuck it under this fold. And then I stopped and I added the daisies, and with them I just stitched them down the center as well. The reason I wanted the daisies there is so that I would know where the daisy was, so I'd know where to scallop it. So I stitched it down the center instead of that basting. I took the basting out after I stitched it. And then what I did, and I'll lift it up again to show you, I only took, to stitch it down, one stitch at the top of the daisy, across, and then here the same thing. And then after that was stitched, I used my needle to pull the middle between the two daisies down a smidge. And I paid attention to how far down, like it was a 1/16 of an inch or so, but just so that I would have consistency across. And I put a pin in it to hold it there. And then I took 2 stitches. And then I did the same for the next scallop and the next scallop and the next scallop. And that's how it turned out. And then I went back and stitched the tips of all the daisy flowers down. But I think that it's such a pretty detail. Okay, that's this week's video. I came up with a really fun, this square was bugging me. I didn't know, I had no idea. I still don't for this one, but I had no idea what to do with that. But then as I was falling asleep, a really neat idea came to me. So I'm going to share that with you next week. And I'm gonna next baste all that I do know of my embellishments down and start stitching those, and who knows what ideas will come to me in the meantime. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.